Take a slow, deep breath and imagine a world where giants roam the earth. You feel the ground shake. Boom, boom, boom. You look up and see a neck stretching into the clouds. It's alive. Now, imagine something different. From the corner of your eye, a tiny shadow darts through the ferns. You look closer and see a creature the size of a chicken, but with feathers, claws, and eyes that watch you. Yes, the dinosaur world wasn't just about monsters. It was about extremes, the biggest and the smallest. And today we will explore both. Which would win in a world of survival? Which would you want by your side? The towering gentle giant, or the lightning-fast little hunter? Stay with me, because by the end of this journey, you'll not only know the answer, but you'll feel like you've walked beside both. Let's start with the giants. Close your eyes and picture Argentinosaurus, a dinosaur so massive it could peek into the 10th floor of a city building. Its body stretched almost 120 feet long. Imagine 5 school buses lined up nose to tail. And this dinosaur is still longer. Its legs like moving tree trunks. Its footsteps like tiny earthquakes. And yet this giant was peaceful, a plant eater, spending its life moving slowly, from forest to forest, munching on leaves and branches. To survive, it had to eat over 1,000 pounds of plants each day. Think about that for a moment. Even your whole school cafeteria wouldn't be enough to feed it for a week. If you were there, standing beneath its shadow, you would feel like an ant next to a living building. But being a giant came with a price. Every step was slow. Every day was a search for food. Giants like Argentinosaurus and Patagodaton moved in herds, sweeping across the land like moving mountains. Predators rarely attacked them, but when you're that big, even falling ill or getting trapped in mud could mean the end. Their lives were a constant race against hunger. Their size was their strength, and their weakness. Now shift your focus. Beneath the ferns, leaping from branch to branch, comes a tiny champion. Meet Microraptor, barely 3 feet long. So light, it could glide through the trees with its feathered arms and legs. Or imagine Compsognathus, no bigger than a house cat, so small it could dash between your legs and vanish. While the giants ruled the open plains, these little shadows ruled the forests and underbrush. In the game of survival, size wasn't everything. Being small was its own kind of superpower. Tiny dinosaurs could hide in ferns, sprint into caves, and escape danger faster than the giants could even turn around. Some, like Microraptor, had 4 wings, 2 on the arms, 2 on the legs, letting them glide silently like prehistoric ninjas. Others used speed to chase bugs or avoid becoming a meal themselves. Small meant flexible. Small meant fast. Small meant hard to catch. Let's play a game. Imagine a giant Argentinosaurus standing in a clearing. Now imagine a tiny Microraptor watching from a tree, they faced off, who would win? The giant has unimaginable power. One step could crush the little one. A swing of its tail could knock over a tree. But the little one has stealth, speed, and can vanish into the forest, while the giant struggles to even turn around. It's the age-old battle of power versus agility. In a fight, the giant wins. But in the game of survival, sometimes the little ones have the last laugh. Picture this: human next to a yellow school bus, next to an Argentinosaurus. Now take a tiny Microraptor and place it inside the giant's footprint. Yes, it could stand inside the footprint and still have space to move. One giant step covered the distance of your entire playground. And here's the hypnotic thought: in the same world, these creatures breathe the same air. One the size of a building, one the size of a bird. Side by side. Picture this: human next to a yellow school bus, next to an Argentinosaurus. Now take a tiny Microraptor and place it inside the giant's footprint. Yes, it could stand inside the footprint and still have space to move. One giant step covered the distance of your entire playground. And here's the hypnotic thought: in the same world, these creatures breathe the same air. One the size of a building, one the size of a bird. Side by side. Picture this: human next to a yellow school bus, next to an Argentinosaurus. Now take a tiny Microraptor and place it inside the giant's footprint. Yes, it could stand inside the footprint and still have space to move. One giant step covered the distance of your entire playground. And here's the hypnotic thought: in the same world, these creatures breathe the same air. One the size of a building, one the size of a bird. Side by side. Here's the secret of survival: size can be your greatest gift and your greatest curse. The giants ruled by strength and fearlessness, but they needed huge amounts of food and water. The small ones ruled by speed and cleverness. And when the world changed, the big ones had nowhere to hide. Every creature had a trade-off. Every size had a price. The prehistoric world was a living puzzle. The giants were the moving mountains, creating paths and clearing trees. The tiny ones were the hidden survivors, keeping the ecosystem alive in the shadows. Both needed each other, and together they painted the epic story of dinosaurs. Take a slow breath and picture walking through that world. The ground trembles with giants. And then a flicker of movement. A tiny feathered shadow disappears behind a fern. Two worlds. One planet. A fragile balance. But even the greatest worlds can fall. Then came the asteroid. The skies turned black. The air grew cold. The giants struggled first. No food, no shelter. Every step slower than the last. The small survivors hid in burrows, ate what little was left, and waited. And from those tiny survivors came the birds we see today. The next time you see a hawk, a sparrow, or a hummingbird, remember, you are looking at the last chapter of the tiny dinosaur story. They won not by strength, but by adaptability. So now we've seen the biggest and smallest dinosaurs. Question is, which would you choose as a friend or a pet? The gentle Argentinosaurus, big enough to shade your whole house? Or the clever Microraptor, small enough to follow you around like a loyal bird? Close your eyes and imagine walking in your backyard with a dinosaur by your side. Would it be the towering giant or the whispering shadow of the tiny survivor? Comment below and tell me, because in the story of dinosaurs, your choice reveals who you are. And if you've stayed with me through this journey, you are now part of the world of dinosaurs, a world where size isn't everything, but survival and adaptation always win.